We're here on the cusp of another shutdown for America.
Yeah, I don't know if it's everywhere. It's definitely here.
All right, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, here is America.
Okay, fair enough.
Right?
Shutdown of America.
I don't give a fuck what's happening anywhere else.
No.
This is my America.
Yeah.
This room right here.
Which is what America's all about, right?
Yeah. Before we get started, I have to say this. I want to apologize to any of our viewers or listeners who have ever had a complaint about us being late with the content, but never said anything to us about it. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I just had one of my favorite content people on YouTube, my favorite black conservative content, wasn't posting for a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why, because I'm not like on all of his like other stuff, like his Reddits and blogs and stuff, because I don't know how that stuff works. But it sucked.
Yeah, you were sad?
Or
were you mad? What were
I
you?
was mostly worried.
Worried?
Like, did
You're
something
just worried?
happen to
Yeah.
you? I was so worried. I was like putting his name in Google and hitting news to see if something happened to him.
Like holding your breath.
Like, oh
Return.
no! Oh no!
He was just busy.
He moved. He was
Ah.
moving. He was in the process. Him and his wife were in the process of moving.
Okay.
But I get it now.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly get it now. It
Yeah.
sucks.
We don't want to concern anybody out there.
No,
Not add to any more of that emotional weight that they may already be carrying in their life.
I mean, because like this America sucks. Like this America right here. I mean, I don't know how your America is going, man, but I know it could possibly be similar to the America that we're experiencing here.
Well, don't say the America doesn't suck. The changes that are possibly being made to the America, the changes suck. The lockdowns suck.
We have a nice house. It does. Our house doesn't suck, right? But yeah, you're right. You're right. It's kind of it's crazy.
I told you though. I think I'm okay. I'm on the edge. I'm trying to stay positive. It's fragile for me.
Yeah, it's well. Here I've got some good news. You might know the news as well, but you never know with you. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it about Colts? I'm on it.
No, it's not about Colts, but Rick Moranis, his sucker puncher, has been apprehended.
Okay.
There is no longer a loose sucker puncher out there free to sucker punch whoever he wants.
What do we do to him? What in America? What happens to Rick Moranis' sucker puncher?
I don't know. He's black, so nothing.
Oh.
We have to wait till January 2nd. I think it really depends on who's president. And right now, we don't have a president.
What if you could make up the punishment? If you were Judge Sidney, and he came into your courtroom, what would your punishment be?
I would send him somewhere like Venice Beach and order him to sucker punch somebody. Like I would send him somewhere where sucker punching could have grave consequences.
Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Do I not know enough about Venice Beach to know why that's where you'd send him?
That's in the movies where all the bodybuilders are on the beach. That's Venice Beach.
Yeah.
That's the part of Venice Beach that I was talking about.
Okay.
You know. You're like, we're going to give this man a vacation? What are you talking about, Sydney? I thought you were about Law and Order.
Make him go rollerblade and tight shorts.
I sentenced you to 3 blocks of rollerblading. That would be a good punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sentencing black people to some of the least cool white shit you can think of.
And then you have to go to trapeze at those circus places.
Yeah. And then you got to do that painting with a twist. There's like a whole list of white activities that he has to do for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't keep eating all this potato salad with raisins in it. I'm sick and tired of it. Like, good Lord, I understand. I learned my lesson. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I would love for that to be like a way that we penalized criminals. The only problem with that is that it would make white people commit crimes more.
They'd have to go live because they'd have to go live.
Yeah, because they get to appropriate black shit.
Yeah,
you know, they get to, like it's like all right, I guess I gotta say the N-word.
Yeah, I think Too many white people would love that.
Yeah, right? It's like, man, I guess I got to start a rap career.
Look at the cool shoes I had to get. I had to blow my budget on these dope ass shoes.
It's like, I had to buy a PS5 I can't afford.
Yeah.
Like, man, it sucks. I don't even know if I can finish all this hot sauce. What is
I had to buy a whole new furniture for the house and put it on layaway.
Just like never have the furniture. Man, I gotta. Yeah, it's So here was one of the craziest things that I learned through this case, like finding out that Rick Moranis's assailant was apprehended.
Yeah.
His first name, Rick Moranis' first name is Frederick.
Huh. Interesting nickname, Rick.
Yeah, like what the fuck are you doing?
Freddie
Fred.
Moranis.
Yeah, Freddie Moranis. Who do you think you are, Fred? Get out of here. Get out of here. That is insane. Although it's kind of cool because I guess you can do Fred, Rick, or Derek.
Yeah, true.
I guess it's Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it depends.
Derek.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends if you're a white guy committing crime or a black guy committing crime. If you're a black guy committing crime, you're Derek. If you're a white guy committing crime, you have to be Derek. That is your penalty. You're Derek now.
Derek over there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Crazy world. So, yeah, I
Did the law find him, or did somebody turn him in? Like, do you know the details of how he was apprehended?
honestly, I don't even know if they got the right guy.
They just got some guy.
They just found the guy. It was like, so the description of it was like, some cops saw him in a subway, and they were like, "That's him." You know, like as far as I know, they're going off of the same footage that we saw.
Yeah.
And there is no way you could tell what that man looked like in that footage.
No.
The only thing that they were going by is the fact that he was wearing an I Love New York shirt.
Yeah.
So they were just looking for a black person in an I Love New York shirt.
All right. Justice served. I'm satisfied with this.
Right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Man, that goes to show how few black people love New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I guess that's not something black people express through shirts in New York.
Not through shirts.
Yeah, a lot of like I guess like where his name is Marquise, Marquis. Yeah. I mean, but he's Marcus now.
Yeah.
And like part of his penalty, he's gonna be Marcus for a little while.
Yeah.
You know.
Marquise punched Frederick.
Yeah. His last name is Ventura. He's Marquise or whatever Ventura.
Yeah.
Which is not a very black name.
No.
You know, but it's
It sounds like an artist's name. An artist.
It does. Like Marquise Ventura.
Yeah.
Like, you think that's his medium? Sucker punching white people? That's his
The splatter of the blood from the nose, like.
Yeah. Or it's just like street art.
Street art.
You know, like he's more like not who's the guy that does all the political street art and we don't know what he looks like? Oh. Banksy.
Oh yeah.
He's Banksy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's Punchski. Little Punchski. Oh, is that a Punchski?
Yeah.
Like that would be hilarious if like somebody came up on like a half concussed Rick Moranis. Like, oh my God, I think it's a Punchski. It's a Punchski. Look at it.
Yeah.
I've never seen one up close. This is crazy. I've only seen him in pictures. Yeah, man. He got rocked. He got rocked pretty good. Yeah. He apparently he like cracked a hip in getting punched.
Oh,
like
ouch.
He had like injuries to his. I don't know what happened to his hip,
Went
but
down
like
hard.
his hip. Yeah. You know, Freddie went down.
Yeah.
Freddie went down. Freddie got fingered.
Oh, Freddie.
Man, I was up the other day watching what is it? I think Modern Marvels, right?
Okay.
I watched 2 episodes of Modern Marvels the other night. One was about tobacco, and the other one was about booby traps.
Booby Traps.
Booby traps.
Are those modern Marvels? Or are those
I
past Marvels?
I didn't think they were going to be, but when you actually start learning about tobacco and or booby traps, it's a lot more sophisticated than you would think.
Okay.
Right? Where do you want to start?
Booby Traps.
Yeah. It's first of all, the idea of talking about this with you just like was cracking me up at the idea of a riff where we were talking about like a booby traps or like basically my hands on boobies.
Gotcha.
It's a booby trap. It's like, oh no, I'm in a booby trap. I've been booby trapped.
Now I know what you did after you watched these.
Just a laugh jerk. Like, oh my God, that's so hilarious. Like, if I'm just like grabbing tits and they can't get them out. Like, why are your hands so sticky? This is a good booby trap. Yeah, this. But here's something you might not know. We'll start here.
Okay, wow me.
1,200 people a year
1,200. Okay.
are killed by booby traps.
Killed.
Yeah.
Killed.
Yes.
What kind of booby traps? Like what? Like trap doors? Like they fall through the sticks like into the hole and can't
Just
get
like
out?
die of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Like, oh no! It's like so, like you open the door, you get hit in the face with a pie, and you just die. I never thought it would happen to me.
Saran wrap on the toilet. Somebody sits on it. They just slide off and hit their head really hard. It's a goner.
Oh my God! No, it's because a lot of booby traps are explosive devices.
Oh.
Like so, they're counting those, right? So that's like at first, you know, they go through like all the ancient booby traps and stuff, and then they start talking about like explosive booby traps.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Where are people doing explosive booby traps at? Is this like in the USA?
Yeah, it happens in the USA. So the Unabomber is considered a booby trapper because that's what he was. He
Those are not booby traps. Those are explosive devices.
Explosive. Some booby traps are explosive devices, right? So how would you define a booby?
A booby trap is something that is disguised. It
Yes.
surprises somebody with
Yes.
what happens, and you can't control the outcome, and it doesn't kill you.
That's not a rule for booby traps. Like you think booby traps are just pranks?
Yeah,
Just good old fashioned fun.
ones.
Just
Yeah.
good old fashioned. We're just having a good time here.
like I don't. Yeah, like I mean, maybe you get like you step on a rake and it hits you in the face. Like that's as extreme as you go with booby traps. It's not like when you're in battle and all of a sudden somebody pulls up like this wall that's got spikes and you get impaled. You're not like, oh, the booby trap. Like
That's exactly what a booby trap is.
like the leaders of the war come back and they're like, we were defeated by booby traps.
That almost happened to the U.S. that literally almost happened to the U.S. in Vietnam.
We've got better guns. We've got more people, but the booby traps, their booby traps are too good.
That's why we got crushed in Vietnam.
And we couldn't talk about it. We couldn't like face it.
We got too many booby traps. We got booby. That's how the Vietnamese defeated the U.S. with booby traps.
So the past tense is booby trapped.
Yeah.
We got booby.
It was just like a bunch of U.S. soldiers with, like black soot on their face.
Yeah.
Like, just like their clothes all ripped in tatters. Just like, I don't know what happened. Can we go home now? That was
like pens exploding in their face. I was gonna sign my paper.
Yeah. What? This isn't a real cigarette? But I don't know if you noticed, but your quick example of a booby trap exploded. Your exploding pen, it exploded. So deep in your heart, you acknowledge that booby traps explode.
Can explode, but without tearing the skin. Like they're not allowed to.
That's almost exclusively what booby traps are for, right?
So I'm just not taking booby traps seriously. Like,
So-
seriously enough.
Let's go back through your definition, right? So disguised,
Mhm.
right? The Unabomber disguised his booby traps as male,
Male, yes.
right?
Yes.
And what was your other definition?
It surprises you, like it like is.
I mean,
gets you off
everybody's
guard.
happy and surprised to get mail.
Yeah.
Like even in the time period when he was doing that, like, you know, it was still like, oh shit, I got mail?
Yay!
What a surprise. So
Nobody was like, this mail's not for me. I shouldn't open this.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, I can't. Like you go in and like sit at a desk and like pull up and like you know, get all your like mail opening accoutrements. You
Yeah.
know? It's like this is my little good luck teddy bear. Like, it's like, yeah, it's So he disguised them. I mean, just if you open up a letter and it explodes, that's a surprise.
A surprise.
Right? So one of the other criteria for it to be a booby trap is that the person that the booby trap is happening to, they're the ones that set off the booby trap.
Yes.
Right?
I forgot about that.
So that's like one of the major criteria for what a booby trap is. And it's I don't quite understand where booby comes in. They didn't really talk about like how it got its name.
Yeah.
But I would imagine because the person that it happens to feels like a boob.
That's your explanation.
Yeah. What's it? I mean, I'm pretty sure that used to be like a booby, like a boob.
Yeah.
Like that used to be an insult for a dumb person.
Yeah.
You know. So like, if you have a booby, if you spring a booby trap, you're kind of an idiot.
I was thinking it was because like the first booby trap had to be like a lady who was like, I'm sick and tired of getting my boobs grabbed all the time. So she like came up with something so the next guy that grabbed her boobs, it like punched him in the face or like sliced his fingers.
Yeah, that is. I saw that story too. There was it was a lady in her 20s who would glue mousetraps to her tits.
Yeah.
No. You're like, all right, I like this lady. She's thinking, a very forward-thinking lady. What year was this? The 20s? I get it. A lot of mousetraps available back then. Man, you just believe that wholeheartedly. The only problem she had is that she wasn't using the snap traps. She was using glue traps.
Yeah. Stuck. Then she was like, I'm booby trapped.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. So that was your history lesson for the day. You're very welcome. So they go through the history of booby traps.
Yeah.
Right? And some of the early booby traps are like the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom type booby traps that the ancient Egyptians and stuff would do to protect their pyramids and stuff. So some pretty good ideas. Some of them are pretty good ideas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there was
that just like mentioning Indiana Jones like legitimized everything in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah, I remember when that kid was like, it's booby trapped.
Thank
and
you.
I was like, you're right.
Thank
Those are
you.
Booby traps.
Yes, it's canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had the Egyptians were just getting loose. I think they just built pyramids to fuck people up. That's like all they did. It was like there's a lot of debate over whether or not pyramids were tombs or whether they were like ancient like power plants and stuff. I think they were just like houses of terror.
Houses of booby traps. Like they really liked prank shows and we didn't have TV yet, so they were like, we got to build this so we can watch this.
That's basically, it was reality TV.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. And so some of the booby traps is they would like, there would be like a corridor because, you know, a lot of these tombs were raided, you know.
Yeah.
So there would be a corridor and they'd put a big boulder to block the path of the corridor. But then the ceiling above that boulder, they would, you know, like hollow it out like a funnel and then put a bunch of loose gravel in there and then like cover it up with like twigs.
Yeah.
So then when you get to this boulder and you're trying to like dig over it,
yeah,
you'd like mess up the twigs and then all this rubble will fall on you and crush you and just like kill you to death.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good booby trap.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid
I just saw them finding, I was watching a documentary about how they recently discovered a new tomb. It was like, you know, a year or two ago, but like it takes a while to put out the documentary. But then they were like just sliding in all the tiny places to get into the tomb. And I'm like, you're going to die. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, some of their booby traps would be like the false floor. And I didn't see any examples of this with the ancient Egyptian booby traps, like putting spikes and stuff in the bottom. They would just make it really deep. Just like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know? So those are the booby traps from ancient advanced civilizations.
Yes.
Right? Then you flash forward to Vietnam a little bit.
Yeah.
Like America, we were getting fucked up with booby traps.
What, like ropes, like those, like you step on it and it catches you in a net and puts you in a tree?
Almost anything you can think of. Like basically, if you've ever seen the movie Predator.
Yeah.
And then
the Vietnamese were watching Predator. They're like, we can get them.
I'm pretty sure whoever made Predator, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was watching the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Every single, when he, like towards the end of the movie when Arnold Schwarzenegger goes on the offensive to try to catch the Predator.
Yeah.
And he starts making all those booby traps.
Yeah.
You know, like the one with the tree that would swing down with this, all Vietnamese.
Yeah.
booby traps.
All right.
All of them. So they would do stuff like, and again, like like booby traps were not something that we did.
Yeah, no, because we're still like, you get those weird like rules of combat where you don't break them and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't even know, because I was thinking about that, because I'm like watching, because I know that we didn't necessarily do booby traps back then. Like, I mean, we do booby traps now, technically. Like a landmine would be a booby trap.
Right.
Stepping on a mine, that's a booby trap.
Yeah,
right?
but we're still not as good at it, or like use it to the same level that people use it against us. Like in Iraq and stuff, like people were messing us up with those.
Yeah, no, that is probably the Achilles heel of the American soldier.
I think we're too good for booby traps.
I think we just love surprises. I think like,
he got us again.
Yeah. I think before every American soldier set off a booby trap, they were like, "Ooh, what's that? Ooh, that's shiny. Oh, that looks cool." We just love we love the story of finding something and it turning out to be like worth a lot of money later on.
Yeah.
That's an American Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Like, that hurts us in war.
That's our cartoon character. We just can't help it.
Dude, it really is. It really is. Like they would like, some of their booby traps would be like a whiskey bottle.
Whiskey bottle in the middle of the jungle. Look at that. Who knew?
Am I the luckiest man on earth? Yeah. I mean, when I signed up for this war, I thought my life was over.
Wait, so what would happen when they'd pick up the whiskey bottle?
Oh, they'd explode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they mostly explosive devices.
Okay.
Right? But actually, no, that's not even the case. The Vietnamese, they were doing a lot of, because they were jungle people, so they were using a lot of the land, to do their things. So it could be, they had a lot of pitfalls.
Yeah.
Right. So, but they most of the time they made a pitfall. They only made it big enough for like one leg to fall in it, and then they had spikes in the bottom of it, so it just like fuck up your one foot.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're in a jungle, you'll get a disease, you'll die.
Oh, you're dead.
Like, yeah.
You're dead. It's yeah, for sure. It's like only they know how to handle cuts and bruises in the jungle, and I think most of them die from it too.
Yeah.
And then of course the predator ones where they would have tripwires, and if you trip the wire, what they call it, a whiplash, I think is what they called it. And because then something would be like they take bamboo or whatever limbs they had and they put spikes on it. So you trip the wire and then, like, it just comes out and like impels you. Yeah. Exactly what you were trying to argue was not a booby trap. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator style Vietnamese booby trap.
Because when you hear booby trap, it sounds so good natured at first. It's like, good old fashioned booby trap. And then it's like, that's an American booby trap. Like, yeah. Other people's booby traps are much darker.
Well, actually, ours are the darkest.
Really?
Because like ours are all bombs. Like, American booby traps are just explosive devices.
That's true.
It's insane.
That's true.
It's insane. So, you look at first of all, did you know that the Mad Bomber was a real person?
The Mad Bomber? No.
Yeah, there was a guy named the Mad Bomber. It wasn't his government name.
Yeah, sure.
But so let me see if I wrote anything down about.
First name The, middle name Mad.
Yeah.
Mr. Bomber.
So let me click on this booby trap thing. Okay. So the Mad Bomber, so he was going around New York City for 16 years, just planting bombs in places that were blowing people up. He did 32 bombs in all from the years of 1940 to 1956.
Damn.
Yeah.
And they always talk about how things are getting worse. Sounds pretty crappy back then.
Oh, that sounded like it sucked. It was like, again, 1940 to 1956.
Yeah.
It's like, I actually, it was probably like the most exciting thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like, the more I think about it. But it also sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if, I wasn't back then, but I don't know. It seemed like back then people were a little more concerned about things that happened to them. Like, I don't feel like we get shit anymore.
Yeah.
It could be like, oh, there's a Mad Bomber in New York City, and it's like, that sounds cool. It's like, where does he play? I'd love to see him.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't get it anymore. No. We don't get danger like that anymore. George Metesky is his name.
Okay, Metesky.
His whole entire issue is he had a gripe with the water company or some sort of utility. All the utility companies.
Yeah.
He hated paying utilities.
So he just killed random people with bombs.
Dude, George Metesky, he just wanted the lights on. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to be able to just drink water.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And these fucking utility companies are trying to...
Well, you think about that. Like, he probably was alive in a time where, like, you could just drink water. Like, you didn't have to pay for, you know, like, you had a house, you had your water, you had your stuff. Like everything was, the land provided for you, right? And all of a sudden he's coming up on an era where now it's like, I have to pay somebody for these things? Like, I was living just fine without them. I didn't have to pay for them before.
He's like, nah, I'd rather learn how to make a bomb.
Yeah.
But he still paid his utilities.
Well, you gotta.
You know? It's like, I mean, it is the rules.
Yeah. He's not a wild man. Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as booby traps are concerned, I mean, you can ask me anything, but that's what I got.
Well, that was enlightening and exciting.
I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it would be. And so cigarettes.
You can wow me with cigarettes? I don't think you can do it.
It's not necessarily
Tobacco.
cigarettes, it's tobacco.
You're going to wow me with tobacco?
I think I can wow you with tobacco.
What are you going to tell me? That they were crops that like really changed places, that made them rich. There was a lot of slaves involved, and that's about it.
So that's all the stuff you already know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's common knowledge about slaves. Well, yeah. I mean, tobacco, rather.
Yeah.
Like, tobacco was the first cash crop of the United States. And predominantly the reason that they needed extra help, you know, cheap labor,
yes.
right? They brought slaves over mostly to deal with tobacco, which is kind of interesting to me because I feel like the iconography of a slave is picking cotton.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but tobacco was the reason for this, not the slave trade, but the reason the slave trade came to the U.S.
Yeah.
Right. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, did it change to cotton, or we just like that? Like, it just makes better movies when you show people picking cotton.
It might, as far as cinematography is concerned, I don't think tobacco is the prettiest plant.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so what do you want to know? Ask me anything.
Why should I care about tobacco? Tell me something I don't know.
Well, it's not tobacco. It's the nicotine. It's the nicotine in
Okay.
tobacco. But people have been smoking tobacco for millennia.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the first things that when they came over to Cuba, when Christopher Columbus came over to Cuba, one of the first things they found was a person smoking.
You never hear people say, though, like, this is a natural plant product and it's, you know, it's here on Earth and we should be able to, like, people don't make that argument about nicotine, about tobacco.
No, because it's so ingrained in so many cultures throughout the world now, where who do you think had tobacco first? Like, if you think back of all the images in your mind of different cultures having like pipes and smoking, you see those little, you know, little wall pictures of people smoking pipes and stuff. Who do you think had it first?
Immediately think of like South America people, but then like I feel like the way you're setting this up, like it was probably in Africa.
Why do you feel like that? Please tell. Just because I'm black, I gotta be like, because I'm black, if I'm setting up a mystery place, it's gotta be Africa. Is Africa always my guess what place it's from?
Because you're telling me that it goes back all the way, and if it goes back all the way, it goes back to Africa.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Cuba that's where they were fucking crushing tobacco. Okay. So here's why it shocked me, because tobacco started in Cuba. The explorers came over, found Cuban tobacco.
Should I be thinking like cigars, not like cigarettes?
You
like,
think? Yeah. So that's what they were smoking.
Okay. Which is why they're so good at rolling cigars and stuff, and Cuba has that legacy, that history of it. Okay.
They've been doing it forever.
Okay.
When the first explorer who smoked with these natives, they smoked a cigar that he described being as thick as his wrist.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Which I don't think it was an exaggeration.
Yeah.
because there weren't other cigars that existed to be like, it was way bigger than a normal cigar.
Yeah. It
You
was
know
just
what I
like,
mean?
this thing was big.
So he was just describing it.
And he didn't want, he's like, it was bigger than my dick.
Yeah.
Like, what can I describe?
Just like, what is Yeah, there weren't a lot of things that everybody knew the size of back then. It was like, everybody knows my dick and my wrist.
It was big.
So they came over, loved tobacco, fell in love with it immediately
That
became,
must have made you dizzy. Like, that must have really made your head spin. Like,
it got you high. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it had the same head spinning properties that maybe modern tobacco
Okay.
cigarettes might have,
okay.
because modern tobacco cigarettes have additives in
Oh,
them that
okay.
help keep them fresh longer, and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and some, but yeah, tobacco. They took it back to Europe, and like most of the people in Europe smoked with a pipe, because there was like
they
there
were
was
fancy.
there was a blunt and a pipe.
Yeah. And
You know, in the first smoke. So let me say this first. So the Europeans took it back to Europe. Then it went from Europe, like over to China, right? Which, you know, you would see these images of like Chinese people smoking these long pipes from way back in the day. So I always assumed that maybe tobacco was an old Chinese thing.
Oh.
Like that's where if I were to be told, like, guess where tobacco came from first,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Africa, right? I would have said China,
Yeah.
right? But so I didn't look this up. I wanted to get more information about the peace pipe and the war pipe,
Yeah.
because there apparently were peace pipes and war pipes, because for the Native Americans, or for the Indians, and in America, they were already messing with tobacco hard.
Yeah.
Like, tobacco was a very important part of their culture. It's basically how everything was decided. Like, it's like if you want to, before you would, like, anytime you would like sit down and discuss, tobacco was involved. So if you needed to sit down and discuss war, you'd bring out your war pipes. If you wanted to sit down and discuss peace, you bring out your peace pipes.
They grow their own crops.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they grew their own tobacco, and or actually, I don't know how much they cultivated it.
yeah.
Right, and the only reason why I say that is because I don't know necessarily the history of the Eastern Indians, like the Indians on the East Coast. Like, after reading the book about Comanches, I know a lot about the Plains Indians, and they're very nomadic,
Yeah.
and they didn't really plant anything. Like, actually becoming a sedentary society where you started to plant and live in
Right,
places
right.
was like a huge insult to them, and they felt like they were imprisoned. You know,
Yeah.
it sucked. But at the same time, those Jamestown was like the first place they found tobacco. Those Jamestown settlements, they had people bringing them maize and all this other stuff. So I'm pretty sure they were let me say this right, gregarian society to some degree. So it's so they were smoking tobacco.
Yeah.
They were smoking tobacco pretty good. And then so okay, ask me more questions. What do you need to know? What do you need to know?
What I need to know about. So they were smoking it. There was peace pipes. There was war pipes. I don't know. You had me thinking about crops, because like, that's what cultivated crops? Like, people started like really learning how to work the land because they needed to have their tobacco farms, like rotate crops, and like, so they like it developed society, civilization, right? Like, it advanced us to be able to grow other things.
Tobacco basically, as a plant, it ruins the dirt. So you have to keep rotating it.
Okay.
It's a very harsh plant to grow.
Yeah.
But at this point, when the U.S. started, not the U.S., but the early colonies started to mess with tobacco, that was the currency for everything.
Yeah.
So when America needed France to help them in the French-Indian War, I think that's what it was. Or maybe I'm saying that. Am I saying that wrong?
No, you're saying
because
right.
weren't the French with the Indians? Weren't we fighting the French and the Indians?
Yeah.
Right?
The
So
British against-
whoever, at one point, they went to France to ask them for help, and they paid them with 5 million pounds of tobacco.
It's a lot of tobacco.
It's a lot of tobacco.
Mm.
But you see how the French are with cigarettes now. They smoke very young.
Yeah.
You know, so 50% of a cigarette is not pure tobacco.
Yeah. That's
Like-
pretty crazy to think that there's something that's been with civilizations for that long. And then all of a sudden in the, like, I'm trying to think of when it happened because I want to say the 80s, but that's when we had, like, the war on drugs. So that was, like, the end of it. Like, people were smoking, like, what, in the 20s? Like when did people start being like, cigarettes? Like, and it was, like, cool to be, like, or just, it always was.
It always was.
It was, like, high society, like,
They
always,
just-
like.
They just kept refining the process of making them in bulk.
Like the ladies, like the flappers that had like the really long cigarettes and were so glamorous
Yeah.
with it. Like there's so much like when you think about a cigarette and how much it like glamour with it, like high society, like, you know, like even though we're like, oh, it causes cancer, like it's still in your brain. Like, no, like you look badass when you're like get out like your fancy like silver box and like, you know, all the fancy stuff that goes with it.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Man, I want a cigarette.
Yeah, right? I promise you, I'm watching this. The whole time I'm watching this, it's like, man, I want to smoke.
Yeah.
I want to try some of this nicotine. This nicotine sounds dope.
Yeah.
Like, hook me up with the teen, man. So, 50% of a cigarette is add-ons, right? Most of the stuff that's added to a cigarette is added to a cigarette because smoking tobacco clean is a really harsh thing to smoke. So they add things to make it smoother.
Yeah.
So they add chocolate, butterfat, and glycerol.
Okay.
So basically, cigarettes are like hot dogs you can smoke. Because they would take, so a large part of the cigarette is reconstituted tobacco. It was like, you know, when they're processing the tobacco, like the shavings and stuff that fall on the floor, they sweep that stuff up,
And put it back
grind
in.
it up, and put it into
Ew.
the cigarette.
It is a hot dog.
It's a hot dog. It's this hot dog you can smoke. It's crazy. It's crazy. But the process for getting tobacco to the next stage and then to the next stage and to the next stage, right? So in Cuba, where they hand make everything, they from seed to plant to roll, it's all hand.
Were they all getting like lung cancer and jaw cancer, but they just weren't living long enough to like
Yeah,
did,
I mean, we've had presidents that have died from cigarette smoke.
yeah.
I think Teddy Roosevelt died from cigarette smoke, or somebody, I forget who it was, but like, yeah, it's like, yeah, they were all getting all that.
Yeah.
They were all getting all that, and it's not just that, because they were using tobacco in all the ways, because it's the nicotine high.
Yeah.
That they want. So you can suck on tobacco and get the nicotine high.
Oh, yeah,
so that's
yeah.
where chewing tobacco came
Yeah.
from, you know, and but it's just like the process that tobacco. So you pick it, you fucking unroll it, the leaves and stuff, and you put them in like a tobacco housing warehouse, right? Just like piles of tobacco leaves on top of each other. And when tobacco leaves are piled on top of each other, they create heat. So you have to go in there and take bushels of tobacco and like air it out.
Yeah.
You know, like wave it around and air it out. And like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people that go in there and do that. Everybody's in there smoking cigars, airing out tobacco and everything. And then it was just a cool process. It was a cool thing to watch. And it was one of those things where like my mind was just going crazy about all of the new lockdowns potentially coming to our environment. And it was just like I just need something for my brain to do right now. And I was like, ooh, nicotine. It's like, let me watch this. This seems interesting. But again, so there's something in the reason why cigarettes cause cancer is because there's something in the combustion of the leaf, like when it's burned and inhaled. There's something in that causes uncontrolled cell growth.
Oh, okay.
And that's what eventually leads to cancer.
Huh. Seems like you should be able to harness that.
Like weaponize it?
Yeah, I don't know. Cell growth.
Booby trap the Vietnamese with it.
Yes.
They're all smoking.
Yeah,
They're all
get
over
'em.
there smoking. Yeah. So that's what I you know. Just speaking of like Asian countries smoking, there are more Chinese cigarette smokers than citizens of the United States. I don't know if you knew that. That's a little fact I'm throwing out there for you.
Yeah, the
you know?
Chinese are still smoking, huh?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. We're actually, smoking is only going down in America.
Really?
Everywhere else in the world that we send cigarettes to, they're like ramping up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, which is why the tobacco industry is so big. It's like it's too big to close down. Like we're never going to end tobacco companies in America because 300 million people in China are buying them.
I didn't even know we still had tobacco companies. You know, I know that there's like cigarettes, but like
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know they were still balling like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's just out there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Pulling back the curtain for us, huh?
Just a little bit, right?
Peeking.
Just like let you know how the world works. You
Yeah.
know, cigarettes are basically booby traps.
They are.
They are
Long booby traps that will get you eventually.
It's the long, slow booby trap.
Yeah. It's the worst kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like a booby, like the long booby.
So what else was I talking? Oh, so you know how like there's all these not all these, but you see Facebook ads and stuff, and not just Facebook ads, but just the way that commercials and stuff try to get you to think that their product is necessary, right? So it was I don't even know what the product was for, but the thing was animals don't wipe their butts, so why do we? What the fuck is that?
I'm hooked. Obviously, we should be licking our butts.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about?
We're not.
That is one of I hate that comparison. Like when people when we're compared to animals for like like animals do it better than like animals are so simplistic, or what is it? Lobsters are monogamous. Or,
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I get it. Dogs don't wipe their butts, so we should just pinch and move, or just like wipe it on the grass.
So
like,
we should all have our own carpet next to the toilet that you get down, and you just wipe.
yeah, and then which animals are you looking at to be like that's how our butts should be?
Because our butts aren't shaped like other animals. Like,
well, it's not even that. It's like, you know, you got to look at like so the poop comes out of the butt. For those of you listening who didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not being crass. It's just how poop works. Comes out of the butt. But then something's left in that. That's why we wipe.
yeah.
We don't poop it clean, I guess. And that's what it was. It was now that I think about it, it was something to eat for health that gets your poop glass. You poop glass shits. Just shoot out of your butt. They go tink. They come out of your butt.
If I think of animals that poop clean, I think of like the fish and the animals in the ocean that are just like pooping out sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know which animals they were comparing it to. I don't know which animals they were comparing it to. But it was wild.
I'll keep wiping my butt.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't care how animals
Man,
do it.
I support the troops. Oh, man. Okay. Man, so I have some Jack theories. I could save some of this for the Patreon. I think we're close. I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
We might have to do the Patreon a different day this week.
Yeah, but we're okay.
Yeah.
Right? Don't worry.
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. Also, check out our Patreon. It's coming, I promise. I promise it's coming. It's but I do want to talk about this because just been like really, you know, engrossed in like remembering all the things I did to get out of homework as a kid. Like now that we have a kid trying to get out of homework with his every fiber in being.
Goodness gracious, it's weird to live through it again.
Oh my God. My God.
I never tried to get out of homework though. Like, I mean, I did when I was older, but not at this age.
Yeah, I just remember thinking my mom just taking this way too seriously. It's just homework.
Yeah.
It's just homework. And now I'm like screaming like with tears in my eyes, you gotta do your fucking homework.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna have you turn into what a person that doesn't do homework turns into.
Yeah, it's so weird how aggressively upsetting it is as a parent to watch your kid like not do homework. Like
compared to how fun it was as a kid to not do homework, man, we're living two different lives.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll never know until you're a parent.
So Finn is, you know, he's trying to get out of doing homework, and even when we do make him do his homework, he's trying to do as little as possible with the homework that he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. So he was working on a project just the other day where he had to make a device that thinks for you, or it's
like a decision making.
It's a decision making device.
Yeah.
And the different components of the device are supposed to be the different components of decision making. So it's like stop, think,
outcomes,
it's like
value,
outcomes, but all this stuff, right? So going back and forth trying to get him to make this machine, trying to get him to actually put some effort into it, because because the kids have to write out how this machine is going to work. Then the next time they're going to draw it on paper, and then the next time they're going to actually build it. So these kids are learning how to take something from conception to reality. Yeah. Right? Which is a very cool skill to have. Yeah. It's also just cool to know that you can do that. You can take something from something in your head and build it in the real world. And the earlier you learn that, the better. Yeah. I believe. Right. So for the stop part, again, he's just trying to get out of doing the work. He's just trying to figure his way out of the work. And so, okay, Finn, so the first word is stop. So we need something in your machine that makes you stop. So write that down. Write down what is, what part of your machine and how it's going to make you stop. And he comes back with, you come up to the machine and stop.
That's what does it. You come up to it.
Yeah. And it's like, Finn, that's not, come on, man. You got to put some more effort into this. Like, and he goes, you stop so you can think. Right? And then it was gonna be, you think so you get outcomes. Right? So I just step in again. So finally, he comes up with, so the thing that makes you stop is there's the part of the machine where you have your question, right? You bring your question to it, and the machine says, are you sure this is the question you want answered? Yeah. So now you have to stop and be like, is this the question I want answered? And not exactly what we were going for, but it was so funny. I was like, yeah, you got this one, man. You earned that. Yeah. You earned that, right? So then his next one was, his thing was like, did you think about?
It's just a machine that talks to you and asks you all the questions back to you.
Yeah, it's like, are you sure that's what you want to do? So I'm getting on. I'm like, Finn, like that's not how it works. You gotta make a part of your machine that thinks, that processes information, and then a next part will distribute outcomes. So come up with a way to have this thing. And then, so earlier in the night, you gave him a shoebox with a bunch of materials in it to like arts and crafts this machine together. Yeah. So I'm like, how about this? How about you open the box, look at the materials that you have in the box, and think about what you can use in that box to make something that thinks. Yeah. Right? So he goes over to the table and he comes back and says, his solution was, there is a fish in the box that answers questions for you. And I'm like, I'm looking at him because like, that's a cop out, right? Yeah. To be like, oh, this thing just answers the question, like, which is a cop out, right? But to me, it's like, a fish? I had to literally get up and go see if there was a fish in that fucking box. I was like, what did Ansley put in this box?
A question answering fish.
And it's like, why are we not using this fish for everything? We never know what we want for dinner. It takes like 2 hours for us to decide on dinner. Why are we not consulting this fish? Oh my God. It's like, and I'm trying to do this thing where I'm being like this responsible parent and have him get the work done. Yeah. And I'm also trying to hold back the type of laughter that will make you cry. You know what I mean? That made my day. Like that, I will remember that for the rest of this like dealing with homework career that we're going to have, because I think it's going to be a long time.
You need a mackerel in the box. It's not not a goldfish.
It's like,
I know you're all picturing a goldfish. It's not a goldfish.
No. I was picturing like a Dr. Seuss one fish, two fish, red fish, because like they're always out of water. You know what I mean?
Like to answer questions.
And also, a fish in a box that answers questions. It kind of sounds like a booby trap, dude.
Just go put your face really close to that fish in the box.
Yeah, you just open a box and the fish starts telling you how to live your life.
It's not going to end well.
No. Oh, man. I think we did a good job.
Yeah.
I think we did a good job.
We'll ask the fish in the box when we're done. We'll find out.
Oh, man. Wow. Oh, real quick. Check out this sick-ass shirt that I'm wearing from Mr. Tubbs Plumbing. Check him out if you're in the area for all your plumbing needs. Mr. Tubbs is the man. You probably also heard him on Dad Meat if you listen to Dad Meat podcast or any of the other podcasts in the Shat Nation digital universe. And yeah, Mr. Tubbs is the man. So it's I offered to buy this shirt, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of here! Take this shirt and this sweatshirt." So I got some sick ass Mr. Tubbs merch, man.
He asked his fish. He was like, "Should I make Sydney buy this sweatshirt?" And the fish said, "No. Give him a sweatshirt too."
Oh man. And check out our Patreon. If you don't know if it's a good Patreon, ask your fish. Ask your fish. Your fish will give you the right answer.
Yeah.
It's a lovely Patreon. We'll do these shout outs real quick. And shout out Mike Butler, Mike Levy, Lizbot, Doc, Kevin Stevens, Julian from Canada, and his wife Meg.says.so on Instagram. And then her awesome podcast, Sew and Tell. She sews. She's a seamstress. Kevin Lau, Mary, I bet she could make some sick ass booby traps. I bet, some like Velcro booby traps, right? She could act like literally, she can like make take it down like her titty pops out and get you.
Yeah.
That's it's like a booby trap.
That's the booby trap of your dreams. Got me.
That would be hilarious if like that became the thing that girls did at the movie theater, which was like the answer to like the dick in the box of popcorn.
Yeah.
Like you reach in and grab a popcorn, it just like pop out, like smacks on top of your just like, oh, you spilled my soda. So Kevin Lau, Mary Jo Butterly, Nicole, Raj, Janelle, Courtney, Coach Rick, Andrew Pace, Keith Butts, Kyle Hancock, Levi Mercer, Justin Masabi, Ezekiel Ellis, Logan, Ryan, Roger Down, Joe, Rob, Joe Francis, and his girlfriend's company, Saved by the Wreath. Get all your wreath concerns taken care of by his girlfriend.
The holidays are coming.
Maybe. I don't know if they get canceled.
Can't cancel the holidays.
Can't cancel.
Just keep it in your hearts. Talk to your fish. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
get a wreath for your heart.
Yes.
That's pretty sick. Still don't know who this. Oh, Nick Cupsey and his 2 books, Lost in the Mail and The 5 People You Meet in Wawa. This old guy, still don't know who you are, remember you, but I hope you made it through COVID, the cancellations, the booby traps. Are you talking to your fish? Nicotine, I hope you made it through nicotine, man. Chris Bruno, Kevin McGran, Graham Hoffman, Chris Tucker, Derek Towson, who is my brother. We do have a different last name. I promise you I will get to that. Sean Dowdy, Guy Patterson, Brian Bachner, the man Toscani Rodriguez. And thank you all for listening. You're currently listening to Melissa Vile Kingdom and her band Circadian Clock.
And don't go start smoking just because of the great things we said about nicotine tonight.
That would be... If you do start smoking because of this podcast, please let us know. And let me know how it's going. Like that's like, because that's the one thing I was thinking. It's like, I'm not going to start smoking at 40 because of this fucking Modern Marvels episode. Like, what am I? What's wrong with me? I'm so lucky I didn't see this as a teenager. It's like, good Lord.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? Man. Thank you so much for listening. We love you all. And our Patreon will be up soon, I promise.
Got you.